Her project is about developing and implementing an 8-session management course customized to the needs of current and future leaders. Jodi Mouse.
Thank you. All right, thank you for the opportunity to be here today to talk a bit about credit union leadership development. With a show of hands, how many of you are working on how these items fit into the future of your credit union? Yeah, just about all of us. We're working through some of these same challenges at Central Minnesota. However, we found that our future success starts with our people. Having a bench of qualified employees ready to take on those future challenges is essential to our success. I want you to think for a moment about one of your frontline staff members that you see as high potential. Maybe it's a teller named Krista. Krista has been providing great member service for you. She's showing leadership initiative and high potential. Are there courses available at your credit union that Krista can take so she can see what leadership and management is all about? Let's say she accepts the job into a leadership role. Are there additional courses she can take to continue her leadership journey? Today I'm going to share with you how and why Central Minnesota has designed leadership courses to prepare current and future managers for success. So let's start with the why. We know unemployment rates are at an all-time low. When you find good talent, you need to keep them and develop them. We also have about 10,000 baby boomers retiring each day across the United States. On top of that, over the past 6 years, we've lost over 1,300 credit unions to mergers and acquisitions. However, all of us in this room, my guess is, are probably part of the 66% that are growing. At Central Minnesota, we are also growing rapidly. We've experienced mergers, acquisitions, as well as just organic growth through both our branch and online channels. This has led to new opportunities for people to get promoted into management positions. However, we found that they didn't always have the tools to be successful. So that's where our leadership program came in. We want to not only prepare our current managers and give them the tools, but we also want to make sure that we have a bench of qualified leaders as we continue to grow in our future. So what are some of the benefits we've realized? We've had our leadership program for a bit of time now, and we've had some great benefits. The first is increased promotions. Last year, 75% of our management positions were filled with internal employees. Our turnover has also reduced to about 18%, which is 10% below peer. On top of that, our employee engagement and satisfaction scores have increased. For the last 3 years, our employees have voted us a top place to work in Minnesota. We always know that happier employees also leads to happier members, and our members have voted us the best place to work in the best financial institution in Central Minnesota for the last 2 years. So we know there's a need. We have a great opportunity to see some good challenges and meet some challenges in our organization. So how did I get this process started? It really took on 3 key areas. The first is to make it a strategic priority. I worked with our strategic leadership team to create what we call a workforce planning strategy. Now, our leadership courses are one piece of that. It also includes things like ongoing personal and professional development, an intern recruiting strategy, as well as things like succession planning. We always say that our assets, our most loyal employees, are our biggest assets. And since that's the truth, we made them a strategic priority. The second thing is to customize it to your organization needs. So at Central Minnesota, I worked with our management, our HR, our employees, had our managers complete succession plans to see who's on the bench and what kind of information do they need to become the next manager. And that really allowed us to identify gaps and build our course content. The third thing is to gather resources. We all know that knowledge, time, dollars can be a bit of a challenge. And if you're anything like my credit union, your talent development department might not be huge. I'm currently a party of one at Central Minnesota. So I created a partnership with our local tech college. And this allowed us to create college-level management curriculum for our staff. Now, to pay for it, we applied for and received a grant through the Department of Economic and Employment Development for $250,000. So if this is something your credit union is interested in, but you're worried about how you're going to have the resources, I'd encourage you to reach out to your state departments for grants that might be available. And this is what our leadership course structure now looks like. We have everything from our workplace skills training, which is really an introduction to DISC, working on things like communication, conflict, and team building, all the way up to our navigating management training, which is focused on helping senior leaders earn a spot on our strategic leadership team. So what is strategic planning all about? What do you need to become an executive, like many of you in this room? Now, we also wanted people to not only have the soft skills needed in the leadership courses, we also want people to have the financial knowledge. So we also developed a suite of financial leadership courses that focus on things like how to impact return on average assets, budgeting, asset liability management. Now, keep in mind, all of these courses are customized to the way that we do business. Let me bring you back to Krista. Krista Provo is a real employee at Central Minnesota. She joined our team as a part-time teller in 2012 while going to college. From there, she attended our workplace skills training, took the DISC assessment, learned a little bit about herself, and became a teller too. In 2014, she was tapped by one of her managers to take our 3-day aspiring management course to see if leadership and management was in her career path. It was, and she was promoted to a lead teller, which involved coaching and training new hires. In 2016, Krista attended our Intro to Management course, which is 4 days, focuses on things like emotional intelligence, performance management, and managing multiple generations in the workplace. She was then promoted into a teller supervisor role. In 2017, she continued her leadership journey, taking our Finance 3. And here's Krista today. She's currently a teller supervisor at one of our branches, and her long-term goal is to become a branch manager with our organization. Krista's also signed up for our management training, which is what Tim mentioned at the beginning of the session. It's going to be kicking off in the spring of this year, and it's 8 sessions, so we're really excited to be offering that to our staff. Now, I've personally had the opportunity to work with Krista over the years, and she has assured me if it wasn't not only for our leadership development program, as well as people tapping her and encouraging her along the way, she wouldn't be where she's at today. And this is what our talent bench now looks like. Last year alone, we had over 150 course completions. Imagine the cost of sending all those people to an offsite management school. Investing in our employees not only helps our credit union, but the future of credit unions. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's start this round with David.
Yeah, another fantastic presentation. Love how you defined the critical challenge of the organization. My question would be, as we look into the future, we know that a lot of people are saying by 2030, we're going to be in this gig economy where we're doing part-time work across the country, crowdsourcing and whatnot. How is this plan going to evolve, and has it been thought about as far as delivering skills for the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks, David. So our program, while we started developing it back in 2012, we're constantly making changes to it because the economy changes. So it's something that we're doing constant development like this, as well as partnering with the local college to identify what are our current needs and making changes along the way. Every year, the course content gets updated based on our current needs. Thank you.
And Peter.
Yeah, so as part of your talent development strategy, and you mentioned the executives, the different layers in the organization, so what kind of training are you or this project helping the executive team so they can continue to grow in their careers and their aspirations?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. So it's kind of twofold. A lot of the executives have been through the program, and now we partner with them to help train pieces of it. So they're really sharing their real-life Central Minnesota Credit Union knowledge with the next leaders of our organization. However, our executives are also coming to sessions like this, right? So I think it's really important to make sure we create partnerships with companies like CUES to make sure our executives are continuing their knowledge outside of the workplace. I would say our courses aren't necessarily geared towards our top-level executives. They're really more for the frontline people to get them up to that spot, and then they need to seek outside resources.
And Eric.
Jodi, I love the innovation around the partnership and the innovation around the funding model, so very well done there. For me, great structure, but I think it has to be matched also with experiential opportunities. So can you talk about what you've done to create experiential opportunities back in the credit union, outside the classroom?
Yeah, thanks, Eric, for that question. So we do. The majority of our courses actually have some piece of a case study, is what we call it. So there's been things like our Credit Union Foundation was developed as part of our leadership development program as a result of one of the coursework. Otherwise, we have them complete projects. Like one of our recent ones was potential merger partners. So the group was able to identify companies that they're looking to merge with, and then they create case presentations and studies for our executive team. So a bit of that, and then a bit of just ongoing, like getting involved in projects and different things happening at our credit union. So yeah, it's been good.
You guys are nailing the timer. This is awesome.
Hey, all right.
Keeping the show going. Let's hear it for Jodi.
All